The moment that taught me to trust myself again. For the longest time, I was my own worst enemy. Every decision I made felt like the wrong one. Every mistake seemed to echo louder in my mind than any success I had ever achieved. Slowly but surely, I stopped believing in myself. Doubt crept in like a shadow, whispering that I would never be good enough, and I believed it. That self-doubt followed me everywhere. It was there in my work, where I second-guessed every choice. It was there in my relationships, where I constantly worried I was not worth loving. It was there in the quiet moments, when I looked in the mirror and wondered if I even recognized the person staring back at me. I was lost in my own head, unable to see a way out. Then came the moment that changed everything. It started with something small, an opportunity I almost turned down because I was too afraid to fail. It was a simple project at work, something I knew I could do, but the thought of messing it up kept me frozen. The deadline loomed closer, and with every passing day, my anxiety grew. I convinced myself I was not ready, that someone else would do a better job. But deep down, there was a tiny voice, a whisper, telling me to try. At the last minute, I decided to take the chance. I stayed up late, pouring my energy into the project, battling every ounce of doubt that told me to quit. It was not perfect, but I gave it everything I had. When I submitted it, I felt a strange mix of fear and relief. The fear was louder, of course, but there was also a spark of pride, as if some part of me knew I had done something good. A week later, my manager called me into their office. I braced myself for criticism, expecting to hear all the ways I had fallen short. Instead, they looked at me and said, "This is some of the best work I have seen in a long time. You should be proud of yourself." I could barely believe the words. For so long, I had convinced myself that I was not capable, that every effort I made would end in failure. But in that moment, I realized I had been wrong. That single moment taught me something I had forgotten. I could trust myself. The doubts and fears had been so loud for so long that I had stopped listening to the quiet voice of confidence buried underneath. But it was still there, waiting for me to find it again. And when I did, it changed everything. From that day forward, I started taking more chances. The doubts never completely disappeared, but I learned to push past them. I learned to trust that even if I stumbled, even if I failed, I was strong enough to pick myself back up. And with every step I took, that quiet voice grew louder. If you are listening to this and doubting yourself, I want you to know that you are not alone. Self-doubt is something we all face, but it does not have to define you. Somewhere inside, there is a voice that believes in you, even if it is hard to hear. Take a chance, even if it feels scary. Trust yourself, even if it feels impossible. You might just discover that you are stronger and more capable than you ever imagined.